Hello, popcorn junkies are here. So,
It's like my jumper.
yeah, what is it? Why be
Like be
racist?
racist, sexist, homophobic, or transphobic if you can just be quiet.
I love that. When we've been out and Maddie's been wearing that, some people have almost tripped over themselves in crowds to come over and say, "I love your
I'm
top."
surprised I haven't been punched in the face by any like racist or sexist people.
True, but then they'd be identifying as racist. Do you remember at the National Theatre, that man at the coffee shop?
Yeah, I just wanted to say that I love
Just
your
over
jumper.
there, I loved your top. Anyway, well, we went out last night not wearing this top. We went to a very, very, I thought, nicely busy local cinema. We went to the Odeon Streatham, and there was a whole pile of youngsters in there with their mobile phones tweeting and bleeping and going
I thought
nuts.
they were fine.
They were fun,
actually.
they were nice. And we went to see Slender Man. Yeah, we liked the trailer.
Yeah.
We really like the trailer. There's a particular moment which we'll come back to where a girl shoves a knife in her eyeball. So this is Slender Man. It's directed by Sylvain White. It's based upon a 2009 internet created meme. I thought it was based on a fairy tale.
No.
But it's a meme.
Yeah.
Slender Man was a meme that was created as a sort of fictional character of obviously very tall, slender, who's obsessed with sort of stalking and kidnapping and killing children.
Yeah. It's a bit weird.
Bit weird, so it's a bit
And sending them insane.
It reminded me a little bit going in. There was a film in the 80s, tell me if anyone remembers this, I think it was called Paper House. It stars a couple of people that we know from other things. The girl from...
Girl with the fringe. She's from Kissing Booth.
And then the other girl was from Captain Fantastic. Annalise Basso.
Oh yeah.
Annalise
Katie.
Basso was from that, and Joey King is the girl
Joey King.
from the Kissing Booth. I was expecting something very clever and sort of nuanced and sophisticated. And at the beginning, you leant over and said, "I like the way it's shot." It was promising, wasn't it?
Yeah.
How did you think it started? What was the premise?
So the girls were just having like a sleepover, and at the same time, the guys were having a sleepover at one of the guys' houses.
That's right.
And one of the girls said that, "Oh, I know what the boys are going to be doing tonight. They're doing this thing called like summoning the Slender Man."
Yeah.
And then I think all the girls were like, "Oh, we can do what the boys can do."
So they basically click on a thing that
Click
says
on a video.
summon him. Is it?
Yeah.
Summon me.
So they press summon him. And
Which
then
you
it's-
don't do in a horror film.
No, but kids do that all the time.
Right.
Like me and my friends have done weird.
Have you?
Yeah.
Have
I
you
mean, it
tried to
doesn't
summon
work.
things?
Yeah. We did the Bloody
Wow.
Mary thing. It just doesn't work. Don't do
Oh,
it.
okay, that's
You have
cool.
to like turn all the lights off, set up some candles. You have to look in a mirror and you have to say Bloody Mary 3 times, and then close your eyes. And apparently, when you open it, she's in the mirror, but it didn't work.
Oh, okay. I
then
thought
we
you
tried
might.
to use
I
a
think you just
Ouija-
ended up with a drink. Well, so the guys in this film have a much simpler way of
Yeah,
doing it. They just click on a link.
Yeah. So they press summon him, and then this video comes up.
It's quite sort of now. I quite like this moment. It was a
Yeah,
bit
it's a
sort of
bit trippy.
hallucinogenic. It was a bit
Yeah.
trippy, wasn't it? It was
Yeah.
like something from the 70s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they basically press it, and it's like him, and then weird like Illuminati and
Yeah.
flashing things, you know, like
Yeah.
blinded in the cinema. And I
Yeah.
thought I really liked that.
I did.
Katie was the most struck by it.
Yeah.
Because I think she was the most vulnerable because her dad was an alcoholic and she wanted to run away anyway.
That's right. It was horrible.
Yeah, and apparently he goes. Slender Man takes the first person that Slender Man takes is because they seem the most interested in all of it.
Oh, so
Yeah.
so potentially a little bit like a paedophile, Slender Man's drawn to possibly the most vulnerable.
Yeah.
Because the person who's most interested is probably going to be the most vulnerable.
Yeah, because you know it.
Yeah.
That's what Pennywise says. He scares kids with their own fears and if they're vulnerable.
Maybe this is a subgenre of horror films now, where a sort of paedophilic figure is the sort of is the horror. And then I got a bit confused. So then we lost who I thought was one of the best actresses in it.
Yeah, they went on like a school trip.
Yeah,
For some reason, it was by a wood.
yeah.
And-
It always is by a wood.
Yeah. 1 minute she's talking with all her friends. The next thing we know, she's gone.
Yeah, they didn't.
She was taken, but it didn't show her being taken.
They didn't dramatise her departure, did they?
No.
You didn't see it.
No.
And I think that must have been because on some level they knew as with all horror
I
films.
quite like that though.
Yeah, I suppose.
But
it's
I think
different.
it was too much. Like
Yeah.
we could have had her scream.
It's been billed and it's had a big press push behind it, Sony. I mean, it's had a bit of negative press because apparently, when the original meme came out, there was the incident in Wisconsin in America where some children ganged up on a kid and killed them in the name, having invoked Slender Man as their reason to kill her.
God.
And so the filmmakers were there was a lot of pressure when the film was tried to be made the first time from the father, obviously, of the child that was killed. And I think Sony Pictures kind of lost the courage of their convictions. They decided to go for this, and then I think it kicked up a fuss about that old story. They wanted to tread carefully. And then further still, based on what we saw in the trailers and what we saw at the cinema, they then wanted to, it's a bit like clickbait on the internet. They wanted to pull in as many teenagers as possible, so they reduced the content to reduce the certificate. So it's a 15 here, whereas I think there was a fear it was going to be an 18. And the reason I'm saying all of that is I felt it kind of impacted on the way in which Slender Man was introduced to us in the film.
Yeah. Should we talk about what didn't happen?
Well, this is the thing. We went thinking, I can't wait to see a girl stab her eyeball out. Well, I did. I mean, I'm very, very sort of practical about that. I thought, I can't wait to see that moment. Because in the trailer, it reminded me of the moment in the Hereditary trailer where he's smashing his head against the table. So I was kind of looking forward to this moment. But was it there? It wasn't there.
It was in the trailer, but it wasn't in the film.
No, it wasn't there. And it was that character who did it as well, wasn't it?
I vividly remember it was her.
Yeah.
It was so weird because it would have been perfect because I was like, oh Dad, it's this scene. They're in the science lab.
Yeah,
and
I got really sort of excited.
Yeah, they were dissecting like an eyeball. I was like, that'd be a perfect time for her to stab. That's when she stabs herself in the eye in the trailer. Yeah. She wasn't even in the scene.
If ever there's a time to stab yourself in the eye, it's when you're chopping up a bullseye in a science class.
Yeah.
I have to confess, at this point I was getting a bit weary. And I thought the film started to lean on things like, right, we're wandering around a library, dusty library.
That was actually quite good.
That was a good scene, but the location at first, and in fact, that developed into a better scene. We were in a lot of woods. I think an Oscar needs to go to the next director of a horror film that doesn't need to use a wood or a forest.
Yeah, I mean, even Get Out did.
Exactly. Or, I have to say, this film's had a lot of press and publicity, and yet there's a film like The Ritual, a British horror film, that was so clever and sophisticated,
and that was all in
totally set in a wood. Which didn't really get as much of a look in. So, I mean, there were a lot of youngsters in the cinema last night. So is this a film that's generated excitement in your age group?
Yeah, definitely.
Why is that?
Because it started off as a meme and it's just, I don't know, it's like horror films like that tend to get teenagers more excited.
Yes.
Not really clever ones.
Yes.
Because, I mean, everybody my age liked to Get Out.
Yeah.
But it's cleverer than just scaring you.
Well, I've seen a few people watch Get Out, and I've seen them like it, but not think it's not been what they thought it was going to be.
But I think when something like Slender Man or The Conjuring comes out,
right,
those are the kinds of films that teenagers are like, oh, let's all go together and just get really, really scared.
Yeah.
And then everyone gets really disappointed because it doesn't scare them enough.
Well, this is a spoiler review insofar as we won't necessarily say everything that happens to each character, but we are going to talk about some details. Let's talk about Slender Man. Although we didn't see the abduction of the first girl, that happened very quickly, but it was still introduced quite quickly, wasn't it?
Well, yeah, I think the first time what I did find really clever was how Dad didn't notice a lot of them.
No,
how in
didn't
almost
notice any of them.
Every shot in that you can see him in the background.
Yes.
Just standing.
Actually,
and I
that
find
was
creepy.
That was one of my most exciting things. You kept saying, there he is, and I kept looking all over the place. I was like, oh shit, where is he?
Yeah, I thought it was really, really clever that they did that. And there was that one scene where they're on the laptop and the shadows coming.
That was very good. That was very good.
I thought those kind of bits were really clever because you're not really seeing him. I think the first time you properly see him is when they're watching videos that Katie watched before she was kidnapped.
Oh, yes.
Of children running around.
Yeah, they were quite
and him
effective.
Waiting for them to come to him.
Yes.
They were all right. Actually, I thought that was an okay introduction.
Yeah.
The first time you properly see him is when they're sacrificing stuff they love. And the girl takes off her blindfold and sees him. It was fine when she saw him, he was behind a tree, that's fine. And then when she stopped and he was like by her, it was his face.
Yeah.
And I mean, that was quite early on in the film to properly show him.
Yes.
And he was scared, he's like creepy looking,
Yeah.
And it was fine the first time. And then he was shown a lot after that. And then you were just a bit like, well, he didn't really do much, he just stands there.
Well, no, because he's quite a lanky, faceless person.
Yeah.
And so it's a bit difficult for the filmmaker once you've revealed the face that has no facial features or details early on. You need to infer it. And so I was saying to Maddie, there were a couple of moments later in the film where I thought it almost discovered how to introduce the monster more effectively.
Yeah.
So for example, my strongest sequence in the entire film, there was a scene where she was walking through a hospital And I thought it was, and weirdly, most of the content of this sequence was in the trailer. You see the combing of the hair, you see that awful woman turn around with a concave face. I mean, there's some really striking images, a bit Francis Bacon-like, I thought. But there was a moment where a doctor passes, or this very tall figure is coming towards her in the corridor of a hospital. And for me, that was almost the creepiest shot, because as he slowly walked towards, you could see there was a face, but you couldn't make out if there was enough of a face. And so I thought they missed a trick there.
Lankiness, it was just so creepy.
Yeah. And I thought you're right. You reminded me of those videos that they were clicking on and looking at when they were sort of researching where the hell everyone's gone and what's going on. I thought they were more effective because it was inferred. Again, it's that classic thing that Spielberg was good at with Jaws. You infer, or Hitchcock, you infer the horror rather than showing it. So, for example, the moment I thought, oh, you've lost me big time, was when the girl was talking to the jock at the playing field. She looks over to the woods, and there he is with sort of strange tendrils.
Yeah, I don't like it when his things.
That looks so CGI'd.
And when the thing came out as stuff. Like
that was a dramatic moment, but it looked badly executed CGI, wasn't it? It was cheap CGI.
Yeah.
I mean, they obviously didn't have much of a budget. So, I mean, in terms of the plot, you know, lots of toing and froing, lots of girls running away, lots of people, who's going to get got, who's not going to get got.
The one bit that really scared me was when she was at the boy's house.
Yeah.
I won't say what happened, but suddenly something happens and you're just like...
Oh my God.
Yeah, it was really weird.
Oh my God, that was really odd. And I'll tell you what I quite liked about that, because in a weird way, the effect was quite cheap, but it was quite effective.
Yeah.
I tell you one thing else, I'm a big fan of sort of grainy shot stuff. I thought at times it was too dark. I thought there were, at times it was shot in such a way that, in a sense, anything could be inferred and anything could be seen in the shadows, because you could virtually see nothing at times. There was one really good effect where at one point... so she gets a video call.
She one of the girls gets like an unknown video call from someone she doesn't know. So like it appears up on her phone and it's the front of her house.
Yeah.
And she's like, what the hell? Yeah. And she can't see anyone outside her house, and she goes up to the window and she's trying to look, and then she looks in her phone and she's in the window, so it means it's being recorded now.
Yes.
And she's like, oh my God, what the hell? And then she just watches the video chat as it comes through her front door, up her stairs.
I thought that was very clever.
That was really clever. And then they used it second time, and I was like, okay.
Yeah, well, it was like someone on set said, that's really clever, let's use it again.
Yeah. When he'd actually made it was really bad. I was like,
yeah, you're right. It was kind of like he made it all the way in a sophisticated... He was going through doors, he was going through walls.
He was really clever at making an entrance.
Yeah. Made a dramatic entrance, but the way he killed was a bit... It was almost like, because he had no facial features, he didn't know what face to pull when he killed people. Do you know what I mean? There was a lack of drama. It was just like fumbling around.
Doesn't know where to... The bit that really creeped me out was the library scene.
Oh, yes.
So it's turned down. One of my biggest fears is seeing and hearing something that nobody else can see and hear.
Oh, yes. There's safety in knowing everyone's seeing the same thing.
Yeah.
It was tickling at the edges of a couple of other horror films that have been out, which deal with this idea of a virus, or there's a slightly viral feeling. And it reminded me a bit of Truth or Dare, and it reminded me a little bit of It Follows.
Yeah.
But I would say that It Follows is the far superior of the films. I think the problem was Slender Man himself.
Yeah,
it's a bit weird. Yeah. Without giving the absolute ending away, but it will make you look at trees in a different way.
Yeah, I found that quite like... Ugh.
I found it chilling.
Horrible.
Clearly, it's definitely a film peppered with lots of interesting ideas. And I'm sure the director, Sylvain White, is somewhat frustrated that Sony have chopped it all over the place, probably out of respect to the family of the child that was killed, but also in order to get more kids like the kids behind us in. So for you as a horror aficionado, give us your summary and give us your score.
I was really excited about this because the trailer looked really scary and promising, and before we were going I was like, oh my God, I'm really nervous because it's really different when you see a horror film in the cinema. So
yeah, you were very excited.
Yeah, I felt sorry for the actresses because I thought that they were doing quite a good job.
Yeah.
I don't think that they were given enough to work with, really.
No.
But like that really clever idea of them walking towards the door in the video chat, they used it a second time and then they ruined it.
Yeah.
And
they used everything twice, actually.
They used everything twice, yeah. So it just took the cleverness out of it, really.
Yeah.
And like you said, there could have been more of like when she was walking down the hospital corridor and there was a weird slender man, not Slender Man, walking past her, and like the concaved face.
Yeah.
It did better when it was just being really, really weird.
When it was trying to tell a story, it got bogged down a bit, didn't it?
Yeah. It sounds really weird, but I like, after watching a movie, kind of going home being like, oh my God, I'm scared. I just didn't have that.
No.
I fell asleep really really quickly.
Oh, right. Okay.
So I'm probably going to give this a 3.
Oh, okay.
out of 10.
Okay. Well, yeah, I mean, I felt it was trying to riff on films like Wes Craven's Nightmare on Elm Street. I felt there were moments,
Yeah, I felt
you know.
it.
I think they dropped the ball massively with inferring the horror and suggesting the horror. And there's a huge economic advantage to doing that in a horror film, because it means you don't have to show the bloody monster, and you can save all your money to put all of the kind of CGI and effects towards the end of a film. It's a kind of traditional thing that you're more inventive at the beginning of a horror film because you're wanting to save your budget to blow it on all the stuff that you show at the end. So I thought they really dropped the ball there. But then when the monster was shown, bar possibly one or two moments, he reminded me of when you see actors putting on the green screen masks and putting the dots on it. He looked like pre-green screen, like they'd forgotten to put the thing on his face. So I did like the horror of the blankness of his face, and there were a couple of moments where that blankness spreads to other characters, and I thought that was particularly powerful. So all in all, I thought this was a very confused and very sort of mishandled affair. You've given it, did you give it a 3?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I'm going to match that snap. I'm going to give it a 3 out of 10 too. Sorry to the director. I feel like your baby was taken out of your hands.
For more film and family fun, don't forget to click the subscribe button and make sure to click the bell to never miss an update.